Renegade!
Planet Family Guy exclusive.
Hi, this is Rupert from PlanetFamilyGuy.com. We also have Rob, our UK webmaster, on the phone. Would you like to say hello, Rob?
Hello, people.
And we also, for some insane reason that we can't figure out, we have executive producer and creator of Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane, on the phone.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. We have some questions for you here.
All right.
First, we'd like to know a little bit about you. If you could tell us where you're from, where you went to school, how you got involved in animation.
Well, I was born and raised in a small town called Kent, Connecticut, about 1,200 people, and was interested in animation pretty much from day one, and sort of been experimenting with the medium through most of my youth, and went to the Rhode Island School of Design in Providence, where I was an animation major, and made a short film called The Life of Larry that actually came to the attention of 20th Century Fox, among other studios. So my first job when I got out to LA was working for Hanna-Barbera, and worked on a number of shows. Spent most of my time there working on a show called Johnny Bravo.
Yes.
As a writer. And that was when I had written the Family Guy script over the course of the time that I was there, and pitched it to Fox, and they kind of sparked to it, but they weren't really buying any new animation at the time that I pitched it. And then King of the Hill picked up about a year later, and they were suddenly interested in having a few more animated shows. And so I can't remember whether they called me or I called them to check up to see if there was any movement. But they gave me a relatively modest budget to produce a 15-minute animated pilot, sort of loosely based on the script that I had submitted for Family Guy. And so I spent about 6 months just drawing like crazy, because there was really no money, so I just had to kind of do the animation, draw it pretty much by hand into the wee hours. So it was sort of up for about 6 months straight, and presented them with the final product. And they picked up the show not too long after that. So once that presentation was done, it all happened pretty quickly. So a lot of it was being in the right place at the right time, with with the right kind of show. So it's a combination of a lot of work and a lot of luck.
Okay. The show is coming into its third season right now. The first 2 seasons, the history on it has been a little bit rough as far as scheduling. It's always been in different time slots. As far as it coming back this season, what's the schedule for it? When's it going to be on? What's it up against?
Well, we'll be on starting tomorrow, Wednesday, July 11th, on Fox at 9:30 p.m. And that's going to be our consistent time slot throughout most of the summer. In the fall, we are most likely moving to Thursdays at 8, which is a little bit of a rougher slot. I think in the summer on the Wednesday slot, I think we're following Titus, which follows Grounded for Life. So it's it's a good night of to be part of. And then the fall, I guess we're up against Friends, Survivor, The Cosby Show, The Moon Landing, the Olympics, the Kennedy assassination. There's.
So it's going to be a little rough for the third.
It's going to be a little rougher than the summer, but I think they say the moon landing was faked, so that may be take a little bit of the heat off it.
Hopefully.
But we're hoping we'll be able to hold our own.
Well, I definitely hope so and think so. As far as when last season, during the second season, the show, nobody knew if the show was going to be renewed for a third season. Was that true?
Yeah, we thought we were canceled. We were all, we'd all packed up our stuff and we're ready to move out. And at the last minute, there was I mean, there was a shift of power at Fox, and then at the last minute, the new president picked up the show and said, "No, you guys aren't going anywhere. We're buying a third season." So it was, that was Gail Berman, who's sort of our savior,
Yeah.
kind of saved us at the last minute. And these third season shows are just turned out to be some of the best, some of the funniest that we've done. I think it's not unusual for a TV show to sort of come into its own and find its voice in the third season, and that's certainly what's happened here.
Okay. As a result of everything that went on during the second season, some of the people had to wind up leaving the show, some of the staff that was originally there. Do you think that the third season we're going to see a difference because there are different people working on the show now? Or?
I don't think there's... I mean, as far as the tone of the show, it's very much the same. We were able to keep enough of our staff that they were able to sort of help the new guys fall into the group, and we really we lucked out twice because the third season staff was totally measured up to the staff of the first two seasons. My partner for third season, Dan Palladino, who used to run Roseanne, his wife Amy is the creator of Gilmore Girls on WB. Really had a lot to do with the third season being as good as it is. He really he came in. He worked on second season and then sort of stepped up to executive produce with me third season and really helped to take the show into the groove that it's in now. And it's really I think the fans are going to be especially happy with these new episodes because they're the stories are just terrific stories and they just turn out to be hysterically funny.
Good. Are any of the characters, like the semi-regular characters from the first and second season, are they going to be in the third season more? Are we going to see more of like the neighbors?
Yeah. You definitely see some expansion with the community. We have our first story that's based on an ancillary character, or that centers around an ancillary character more or less. Is Meg falls in love with Tom Tucker, the newsman, and so that episode centers pretty heavily around the news station, and we really found that it was, those characters had been, sort of established enough for the first two seasons that it was pretty easy to write a story around them, and they just really popped. And characters like Joe, the cop in the wheelchair.
Right.
We're going to see him be part of a Special Olympics-like event. Not the Special Olympics, we're not allowed to use it, but a similar type of event. And Cleveland and Quagmire, we're going to see more of. Death pops up now and then. Adam West, the mayor.
Excellent.
You'll see a lot more of the ancillary characters. Sort of, there's much more of a sense of the community as a whole, which I think again is part of the show's natural growth in the third season.
Do you find that's a good thing about the idea of cartoons, the fact that you can have just so many more characters than other shows?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the reasons The Simpsons has been able to last so long is because that's a show that's become really not about necessarily just the family, but about the town of Springfield, about the whole community, and there are just so many places to visit that it's tough for a show like that to get stale. So I think that's definitely an advantage to animation because you really you can really explore so many different characters. You're not hindered by sets. So if you want to jump over to see what's going on with at the news station for a couple seconds, then that's you're not constrained by budget having to build a new set. So it definitely keeps it lively.
Okay. You had just mentioned that we will be seeing more of the mayor, which happens to be one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
I also know that I've seen an episode of Johnny Bravo, which you also had written him into. That was a hilarious episode of Johnny Bravo. So what's up with you and Adam West? What's with the fascination?
I'm just a big fan of Adam West. He's we wrote that episode, I hadn't worked with him before, and he just turned out to be so funny on that Johnny Bravo show that I thought, I gotta work this guy into Family Guy somehow. He's just a fantastic comedian. I mean, the way he reads a line like no one else, and there's so much character to his voice. And the great thing is he just has a fabulous sense of humor about himself. So it's really been great for us to be able to, he's playing Adam West, but it's obviously Adam West a character.
Right.
So, and he's very he understands that. So he's really been great about letting us kind of go nuts with that character, and that character that bears his name. So he's just a phenomenal sport, and just a really hip, funny guy, and it's amazing that he's not doing more right now, because his timing, his comedic sense is just fantastic.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep doing more with him.
Yeah, he's definitely, like I said, one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, just a fantastic actor.
Yeah. There's a lot of rumors, and at the website, we've been getting a lot of emails, and I have here a couple of the questions that are like the most commonly asked questions that I wanted to ask you. One,
right.
There has been a rumor of a possible movie. Is there any truth to that?
It's been kicked around, and it's still sort of up in the air. That what we had talked about was possibly doing something for television, where Fox now has their TV movie department, which is up and running. So we had talked about possibly doing a feature-length Brian Stewie road show, sort of in the vein of what we did before.
With Road to Rhode Island.
Road to Rhode Island. We have an episode called Road to Europe coming up, and it's the same type of thing. It's sort of that Hope Crosby dynamic. So we had kicked around that idea, and it's still kind of up in the air. I think a lot of it is going to depend on how the show does in its third season. If it's successful in its third season, then I think it's extremely likely that there will be something like that.
Okay.
There's been a couple meetings, but nothing. We really, no one can tell at this point, because we just don't know how the show is going to be, received this year.
Right. Everybody, this is the most popular question. Everybody wants to know if the first two seasons are ever going to be released on DVD.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I hope all the shows will be released on DVD. I mean, there's one that the network actually refuses to air because they think it's too controversial, and it may be that the only way that episode is ever going to see the light of day is if it's released on DVD, possibly in syndication, but who knows? So I think it's likely. I think with all the all these cult shows that are Get a Life, the Ben Stiller show, I think this show at this point has a definite, very strong following. So I think it's likely at some point that they'll be released on video.
Great, but you haven't heard anything solid?
Nothing concrete yet. No.
Okay. What do you think of the show's international status? Right now we know it's on in Germany, Australia, it's on in the UK, Korea. What do you think about that? The fact that it's being shown basically all over the world right now.
I think it's great. I wonder how some of the jokes translate. Who knows whether the Koreans will appreciate our 8 is enough parody. I don't know. But I've heard that we're doing very well in the UK. Rob, you can shoot that down right now.
It is. I mean, we have a big problem with where it gets aired, and it gets edited unbelievably by the channels that show it, which is a really big problem over here.
Oh, really?
From what I hear from the rest of Europe, I mean, it's
really
huge in France and Germany and places like that.
I thought you guys were supposed to be looser than us. Come on. You're supposed to be better than us, damn it.
We are.
He'll tell you he is, too.
Aren't you the people who were saying bastard on TV back in the 70s? Oh, man.
Okay. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do have another question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any advice at all for people that would want to get involved in animation, writing for television? Do you have any advice for those people?
Gosh, there's so many different ways. I mean, if it's, I got involved through the student film that I made. So it's probably the best thing to do is to write what's what's called a spec script, which is to write an episode of an existing show, like a show that's on or off the air, like a Seinfeld or a Simpsons or a Friends or to basically write an episode of that show. That's how we hire most of our writers. They'll write spec scripts for existing shows that we already know the characters. Some people even do older shows. I mean, there'll be people who will write an episode of the Brady Bunch and they'll put like a new twist on it, or the Dick Van Dyke Show or something. So there's mostly what most writers will do is just take existing shows and write episodes that write new episodes of those shows, and that's probably the best surefire way to get an agent or get some attention.
Okay, great. Well, I wanted to thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
I don't know how this actually happened.
I guess Neil Goldman gave me a call, right? I think that's,
yeah, probably.
Well, no sweat. I mean, this, I tell you that. I mean, half the reason that we're back on is because of that huge push from the fans. I guess they were sending diapers and baby food and all this business. There was just such an enormous effort from the fans of the show to get us back on the air, and I think absolutely that had an enormous amount to do with the fact that I'm still sitting in this office. So, any time.
I'm glad that worked out. Hopefully, we'll get another interview with you for the start of season 4. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, that's no. Yep. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Count on it.
Okay.
All right.
We're all set.
All right, you guys.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye-bye.
Remember, watch Family Guy this summer Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. and please visit planetfamilyguy.com for all your Family Guy news and information.